I've been saying before it was cool that Elon Musk is, as I called him, the Donald Trump of Silicon Valley, a con man with a cult. And I'm glad some of my liberal friends are catching up to what I was saying many years ago.
Let's talk about Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency that
Yeah.
Elon Musk has headed. As a conservative, I assume you think it's a good thing to try and rein in government spending, to make government more efficient, to try and diminish the power of career people in the government who aren't necessarily as responsive to where the majority of Americans might be. But when you look at how Doge has carried this out, has it in fact actually done damage to those conservative ideals of cutting the size and power of the federal government?
Oh, sure. I mean, obviously, there are all kinds of ways to judiciously pair a government that is just a leviathan, a behemoth. And I would have welcomed an effort, actually not unlike what Al Gore was able to achieve with his efforts to reform government in the both the first and second Clinton administrations, if it was done smartly, fairly, with regard to the lives and livelihoods of people in public service who deserved better than curt emails telling them that they were laid off yesterday. The What Doge ended up achieving was the worst of both worlds. It really cut very little in terms of the overall scope of government, but it gave that kind of cutting a really bad name, so that in the future it's going to be that much harder for a more reasonable president to prune an overgrown government. It was a real missed opportunity.
Hi, I'm Janice, and I am co-founder of Jews United for Democracy and Justice, as well as the America at a Crossroads weekly virtual town hall series. If you like this video, don't just watch. Head over to our website where you can subscribe for early access to new programs, see our upcoming schedules, and participate in our weekly live streams. You can also connect directly with our guests live on Zoom. Head over to JewsUnitedForDemocracy.org. You'll be part of a community of thousands from across the United States and beyond, exploring the most pressing issues facing our democracy today. Thanks for watching.
I can't cite a literal statement to this effect, but my sense of those supporting Doge's approach is, yeah, it might have been somewhat ham-handed and very insensitive to those government employees who dedicated their careers to their work, but that something this extreme was necessary, that taking that Al Gore approach, that going through traditional channels to try and pare down the size of government would give so much ability for opponents of it to come back and fight against it, that little would have been accomplished, that this sort of shot across the bow was really necessary. What's your response to that
Well,
argument?
I understand that, but the truth is that I think some of these cases are going to tie up the federal government in litigation that's going to last a decade and is probably going to cost federal taxpayers more than anything that Doge saved. The other aspect of Doge, which really is important to note, is that items like USAID are blips in the overall federal budget. And you can you can make the case that there are all kinds of inefficiencies in the way in which the United States distributes foreign aid, and we could do it much more competently. But if you really want to get at what's driving federal spending, it's what you might call the entitlement spending in Medicaid and the permanent programs that need to be reformed. So if the president had really wanted to do something transformative, making the case legislatively, for example, that we have to gradually raise the retirement age so that Social Security benefits are paid out later, people work longer to take account of longer lifespans today than during the Depression era. That would have been brave and right, and I would have supported it. But simply going in with a literal chainsaw and hacking away this or that department or agency in the State Department, or firing a bunch of IRS employees, which, by the way, will just delay your tax refund. It won't actually make government more efficient, I think was just absolutely dreadful. And, I've been saying before it was cool that Elon Musk is, as I called him, the Donald Trump of Silicon Valley, a con man with a cult. And I'm glad some of my liberal friends are catching up to what I was saying many years ago.
Next Wednesday, another stellar guest, one of America's most heralded historians, Douglas Brinkley. My friend Pat Morrison leads the conversation, titled The American Presidency, A Presidential Historian's Perspective. That's next Wednesday, May 7th, 5 p.m. Pacific. For Janice, Zev, and Mel, I'm Larry Mantle. Good night.